was a very informative session since this morning, since 8 o'clock, 8:30. And I like the fact that when we started the session, the chairperson was not here, but he emphasized some of the things that we raised, more especially on the relationship between public works and the agents, including municipalities, because we are all the agents of, we are all a team that is supposed to respond to the challenges in infrastructure on behalf of the state. So we should see ourselves as one, as a team that is committed to making a difference. And then I'm just going to paint a picture on where we should be going now after all the presentations, because I like the fact that the CSIR painted a very good picture in terms of where we are now on asset management based on the work that they have done, and also the relationship between the work that we are doing, the infrastructure delivery and the economy. Using the infrastructure delivery as a vehicle for job creation. And the other thing is that as the agency, our core business is roads. That's our core business, which means most of our energy should be channeled into that to ensure that we achieve what we are designed to do as an organization. And as it has been highlighted, we will continue re-looking at our organizational structure to ensure that it is properly aligned with Chapter 3, Section 25 of our Act of Establishment. And that will be a joint effort. And if you look at that chapter, it's talking about the key things, about planning and designing, constructing, and maintaining our roads, including taking ownership of those roads. So together with the engineering team and all of us here, we will be unpacking that to make sure that we are properly aligned, and also to ensure that what we define as our KPI, our key performance indicators, are directly linked to what we are supposed to do and what the people outside there expect us to do. Because sometimes we think we are above people on the ground, but the bottom line is that those people, the communities there in the areas, the rural areas, they are the shareholders. We account to them. And we need to, they are the ones who will look at our performance and tell us where we are getting it wrong, if we get it wrong, and where we're getting it right, if we get it right. I always say to some of my ex-colleagues at the CSIR that when we were at the CSIR, it's blue sky type of thinking. And only the peers in your field can evaluate your performance. But here, even a gogo in the village can evaluate that, hey, your road is not up to standard. They don't know which standard they're referring to, but they know that whatever we did does not meet certain standards, because you put it there, and after a year or so, there are a lot of potholes. So we operate in an environment whereby we need to make sure that the people on the ground understand, they can easily measure our work and compliment us where we need to be complimented. So in repositioning our core business, we will be working on the restructuring of the engineering unit to make sure that it supports local government as well, because as the colleague has indicated earlier, the local government has the center of delivery. The people on the ground, the first point of entry is local government. And our constitution is very clear in terms of how we should support them. And in terms of the government delivery outcome number 9, the local government is expected to be a responsive, accountable, effective, and efficient system that is delivering what is expected to deliver to our people. But they cannot do that on our own. They need the support of the agencies like RAL. If we strengthen our engineering unit, bring more engineers into the system, develop them from bottom up while we're bringing in the experts from the top. We can make an impact where we operate, including the local government through partnerships. And that's one of the reasons why we brought on board the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, because we know we have got a wealth of expertise in the CSIR that can be used to transfer knowledge to our young engineers and technicians in order to deliver on infrastructure. And I'm glad the team from the CSIR is committed and willing to work with us. And they have already, the team that is working on RAMs, they are actually, we have identified 3 young technicians and engineers to work with them, and they will be transferring knowledge and skills and being exposed to some of the work that the CSIR is doing in that field so that we can make a meaningful impact. And even when we brought on board our senior manager, Asia, we're very clear in terms of what we want to achieve. And we know that he cannot do that on his own in terms of people development and making sure that we can make the difference that we are established to make. So while focusing on engineering and bringing the experts from the top, because it's not an easy task to develop experienced people. We'll have to get them from somewhere. That's why we brought in CSIR. And on the other hand, we have to work on a pipeline for bringing in new ones. That's why we want to partner with universities. And those we have completed, they have to get into the system and see how we empower them. And by so doing, we'll be making a meaningful contribution to Chapter 13 of the National Development Act, of the National Development Plan, which is very clear in terms of how can we achieve a capable state, not only at the provincial or national level, but in all the spheres of government, from national, provincial, and local government. And one thing that we need to do as well is to turn around, I'm still focusing on the engineering side. As we work today, we must think about how do we turn around the environment in which we have been working, more especially from the project management point of view. Think about all the 3 corners of the project management triangle: your time, your budget, and also the quality of work that you need to do. How do we make sure that, I don't want to be sitting, how do we make sure that we complete our project on time and within budget? I was shocked when the chairperson was mentioning the road which started in 2006. Remember, when you prolonged it, you increase the cost. So how do we make sure that we complete our budget on time and within budget? How do we make sure that we complete our project on time and within budget, and also of acceptable quality? So those are the things that we should be discussing as part of, because that's going to be our KPI, our key performance indicator. I don't want to be sitting in the office and approving endless variation orders. Remember, your variation order is there to show that you didn't plan properly. The fact that you are bringing in variation orders is because there's something that went wrong, more especially at the planning stage. So we have to get our planning right. And actually, I was talking to the team yesterday that we have to make sure that we put this thing into the KPI. If your project manager continue giving us this endless variation orders, we need to get our acts in order. It means you are struggling to manage your project. Contingencies are not there just to be tapped into as and when you want to do them. They are contingencies. Let's get that right. And because we want to work as a team, we will be looking at how do we professionalize our project management team. Or how do you professionalize, how do you make sure that our project managers are properly trained and also registered as professional project managers, so that they are bound by ethics, and the code of ethics of the project management bodies. Not because you're scared of anyone. As a professional, you are bound by ethics. And if you are bound by ethics, the law is below, which means you will do everything above board. So we need to think about how do we, what is the model that we should put in place to make sure that our young team of technicians and engineers are registered as professionals, they are registered as, as professional project managers, as professional engineers, and professional technologists in order to operate in a professional environment. And that will be key from the engineering point of view, because at the end of the day, that engineering unit is the reason for RAL's existence. It's the heart of RAL. And we are not going to compromise anything when coming to getting it right. And I firmly believe that with you, we will achieve that. And the other thing that we should think about while working in our parallel or our plenary sessions is the supply chain management issues. Remember, if you go back to the AG's audit findings, there are two main areas. First, the infrastructure. You listen to Mr. Michael Rowe's presentation. He was highlighting points that some of our infrastructure assets were severed in 2012. We are in 2015 now. And also, he indicated the economic impact of the roads that are, if you don't maintain our roads, what will be the economic impact? Now, I want us to think about, so going back to the AG's issue, our main queries are about the assets, the knowledge of our assets, the condition of our assets, and also how we maintain them, the evaluation of those assets. I even asked the question on whether are we using the right formula for evaluation of our assets. And then the second thing that I wanted to say is the supply chain management issue, which the chairperson also highlighted. We need to clearly define the KPIs that we will use to monitor our performance in supply chain. So we need to unpack it as we discussed today, because we cannot continue doing the wrong things. That one should be very clear. And at the end of the day, we should be proud of what we do. We are not doing it because we want to impress the MEC, the board, or whoever. We want to do the right thing. And remember, we're writing our own profile. It's our own CV. Whatever we do is part of our CV. We're not doing it just because we want to please people. We do it because we are proud of it and we want to be proud of the product that comes out of our hard work. So let's go and develop the KPIs that the board can use to measure us when coming to the supply chain management. And we have to be very straight and honest in in terms of how we want to do that and how we want to achieve it. There's no wish list, so we must put things that are realistic, practical, and achievable. And also to make sure that we deal with the issue of the regular expenditure, wasteful and fruitless expenditure. And we have started the process, and I appeal for cooperation from everybody, because at the end of the day, we are all responsible. It's not about me, it's not about the board. We are all responsible. We want to do what is good for our country. And the other thing that was highlighted is the revenue enhancement and collection strategy. Based on the report that I got from finance, I think we had about 11 million in the first financial year. We can get much more than that. So we need to come up with a KPI that can assist us in measuring our progress in terms of where we should be, and then that KPI should not be for next year. It should even start now. We should start testing it now, this financial year. We still have time to go. We can go back and look at how best do we refine what we know in order to achieve our target of revenue generation. Because as we have seen in the previous presentations, the backlog in terms of the gravel roads. I like the fact I like the point that Mike mentioned earlier, that gravel road has got value as well. It's not just useless. It has value. We don't look at hard road only, we also look at gravel roads. But our gravel roads are a backlog that we need to deal with. Our revenue enhancement strategy will assist us in dealing with the backlog on our gravel roads, ensuring that they are properly maintained, and also they can make a contribution in terms of upgrading those roads from gravel to tar. And let's look at the KPIs that we can develop from that angle. And the other thing that I want to highlight as well is the financial management. That I always say to our team in finance, that I'm not going to wait for the end of the quarter to be preparing reports. I don't work like that. And we mustn't be working like that as a team. Because we make transactions every week, every month. So the management accounting should be done on a monthly basis. And we should know our financial status on a monthly basis, irrespective of whether we are funded by the state or not. We still should operate like a business. And I believe as a team, and finance also assured me that we will do that. So let's look at how are we going to measure ourselves on a monthly basis from the financial point of view, from the supply chain management point of view, and also from performance in terms as project managers in engineering and all other units of the organization. And the other thing that was, the reason why we had a presentation on linking the relationship between the economy and infrastructure is because we want to use, in each and every economy, infrastructure is one of the key drivers. And Mike highlighted that in his presentation, even using research from the state, where he had the pie chart showing what is the contribution of infrastructure to job creation. Now, we have got 5 districts in the province, and some of them are represented here. Mopani, as I have indicated, Waterberg, Sekhukhune, Capricorn, and Vemle. And as the agency, we see them as our pillars, some of our pillars of success. We cannot achieve whatever we want to achieve without their support. And we don't have an opportunity to have an IDP. They've got an IDP. This is part of our IDP, if I had to use that word. And we want to make sure that our KPIs are talking to their KPIs, and also the planning in terms of infrastructure delivery is addressing what the challenges that they have. And we don't end up in a situation whereby we double count in terms of job creation. And we don't end up in a situation whereby they upgrade our roads without communicating with us. We own the roads. They upgrade it, and if something happens on that road, who will be sued? RAL, because it's the owner. Now, the bottom line is, how do we ensure that we incorporate their needs in our plan? And that's why we invited them to come join us today, because we want you to make inputs into our plans. And Capricorn, for example, they give us a list of all the roads in the province, the status, which one is complete, and which one has got challenges, and when should that road be addressed. And Sekhukhune did the same, and we will be engaging others as well to do that. And we're not just looking at them as partners, we're also looking at them, we are not just looking at them as people who will give us information. We want to make sure that we use the engineering capacity that we have to support them where there is a need. It will be a state-to-a-state institution. So as we work on our KPIs, let's look at that. And the other thing is that I want to highlight is that we want the local economies in each of the districts to grow. And where there is a need to involve local, when there is the possibility to involve local people in our projects, we will do so as a first priority. We are not going to circulate service providers from one province, only coming from one province, serving all the provinces. We want to grow each of the provinces and make sure that the economy in that province, the economy in that district is growing, and also supporting the local people there. We'll be looking at how best we use our projects to supply local, to grow local suppliers or support local suppliers and SMMEs in the district. So we need your support as municipalities, and also our colleagues will be assisting us in doing that. Now let me come to the issue of how do we engage our important people, the community on the ground, or our stakeholders as they have been highlighted there. Since we came into the office, we identified the need to use social media instruments and targeting different groups. And those are the only options. As the chairperson has already indicated, that some people are struggling to use those tools. But we are prepared to accommodate everybody. And we successfully managed to recruit some of the men with gray hair to start using Twitter. Anders was asking, how do I join this Twitter? and even Mr. Rukwa's register, he was not on Twitter. But now he's on Twitter and he keeps on following them. And one day when we had a meeting, was asking, Hannes was asking, how do I join this? I said, no, you'll come to the party. And most of the staff started joining the instrument. With Twitter, we're targeting the young people. We want the young people to understand that there is life at RAL. There is a future for them, and we can work with them as a team to make sure that we make a difference in the country. And not only for good things, they have to report whatever is happening on the ground. That's why we're saying to our contractors that if you do something, if you don't build quality stuff, people will take a picture and post it on our Twitter. And if you don't finish your work, or you are doing something strange, they will post it. When I was sitting here, we received pictures of one of the roads which is terrible. It's a vehicle for them mechanism for them to engage RAL and make us aware of challenges that we must deal with and how we should deal with them. So we have Twitter, we have got LinkedIn for professionals so that we can share the professional practices. We have got YouTube where we post our videos, Instagram where we post pictures of good bridges and poorly constructed bridges. So please do the good job. Let's encourage our contractors to do the good job. And since we started, it's very interesting because now our followers, we have got about 218, which is more than our staff complement. So which means we need more from our staff as well to follow us. And those followers, they are raising tough questions. And that's what we want. It's a vehicle for engagement. And they help us to think much more harder on how we can support and make a difference in our communities. I'm not going to talk about the strategic partnerships. They've already been highlighted. And HR, of course, will be working closely with everybody on the KPI side to make sure that we develop KPIs that will make an input in achieving our objectives. Because the human capital is the heart of is the engine of our operations. And I always say to colleagues, let us not get stuck in the past. Let's step out of that and move forward. If I had to speak in Spanish, you are a syndrome which is called I know everything. Once you say that, just know you're stuck. Type of syndrome. If I had to translate directly, it says, I've been here for years. I know everything. You must step out of that. Tell me, how are we going to make things to work today? Because we can't live in the past, we learn from the past. We have to live in the present and aim for a better future. Some say the sky is the limit, but I can tell you today, there are footprints in the moon. So the sky is not the limit, we have to go beyond that. And I believe that as we discussed today, we'll be aiming high and coming up with realistic and practical KPIs and also models that can assist us in achieving our primary mandate. Thank you very much.